And is the streaming healthy? Hello everybody online. Is the stream healthy? Yes. Let's swap here and let's go. Okay guys, so firstly, welcome everybody. I'm really happy to see you again. I remind you that on Saturday we will have a production session in DTH, and on Saturday at 2 p.m. We will just work in the production of one of the songs of yours, like we were doing offline, but online. Grisha, I'll do my best to stream from there. It's just really hard to stream stuff from Studio B. I'll do my best to try to get some material your way from that day, and I'll give it a thought on how can I achieve that. So guys, look. This is what's going on. I spoke, I have actually spoken with Olga and with Grisha, but I haven't spoken with Lala. And I just explained a little bit of what's going on for the video. I don't know, across this old years of our work together, I'm always like in this pizdiecness of being super busy and being super tired. And I guess that it's a natural consequence of building a musical career with a family and stuff. So I'm always grateful for your support and your comprehension with this, because it's constant, and I hope it's not like that, but it would not be like that, but it is like that, and I'm doing my best to try to manage everything I have in my plate. So what's going on is that I need a little bit of oxygen in my life right now, because the production of the soundtrack is really intense right now, and somebody's trying to join, but I can see it here. Wait, no, I don't know who was trying to join. The production of the soundtrack is in a quite moment, and the long story short is that, hey guys, look, I have developed a course that is for the DPO, that is about styles and genres, and I'm gonna take us a little bit for a couple of weeks into a styles and genres territory for two reasons. Reason number one, I am exploded of work and I need to not die while I'm doing everything I'm doing, because I really like to live, and B, I really think that you guys have not received like a good conversation about styles and genres, because the course with Andrei Katikov was a bit of a flop in that sense. The work with Louis was also like a flop in that sense when it was repeated. I don't feel that the delivery of styles and genres has been cool. Nowadays, I teach these things that I'm going to teach you today in the foundation, and so for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go through a module of discussing styles and genres on a very deep level. And actually, this is going to open us a couple of damashki that I'm going to, not a couple, a little project that I'm going to ask you to make. You guys are going to make something that I call the eclectic EP. So I'm going to assign to you random genres, and you're going to have to make 3 songs. Imagine I'm going to grab a random generator, and I'm going to grab Olga Kapsar. And then it's going to be like, okay, Olga, you have to do 1 reggae song, 1 drum and bass song, and 1 Latin reggaeton song. And so you are going to have in the second semester to do stylized songs, singles, to practice your skills in different styles and genres. And of course, I'm going to accompany this with the proper conversation about what am I thinking when I'm thinking about that genre, what does it mean, and all of that. And also with a proper production session, this demonstrating to you how I do production in that genre. And and I don't think that this is like in the main learning outcomes that we had at the beginning of this course, but I think that according to what I spoke with Olga and with Grisha, I think it's not a bad addition to the course. Somebody's writing there. Olga, tell me. You want to say something, Ol? We cannot hear you, just in case. You have your hand raised. Is that a mistake or? Okay. At the moment, I'm going to take that as a mistake because I don't hear you. And yeah, I see. 1 sec. Waiting for you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I wanted to ask, should it be like, for example, reggae influenced music, but with our own style, or just a typical?
No. It would be something like reggae inspired music. I mean, it has to. If your song is reggae, it has to make me feel that I have a little coconut drink and I'm sitting by the beach or something. But your style, I mean, if it's gonna be psychedelic and what do you say, like atmospheric, that's cool. But I mean, we will discuss this a little bit later as we progress. But yeah, I want to force you to write in certain styles and genres, and I'm gonna be doing this. So the lecture that we're gonna discuss at the moment, I have already fully prepared, really, in my opinion, really cool lectures about rock music, pop music, and Latin. And I'm developing now the electronic and abstract one for the DPO. And then I'm going to deliver this material here with you because it's unique material that I have never discussed with you. And it's pretty in-depth conversation about all the styles and genres and all of that. If you find this fucked up or you don't like it or whatever, just of course feel free to come to me and tell me this and I will compensate. But I'm going to be extremely fucked up busy in the next 4 weeks. So if I can lighten my load a little bit, that would make my life easier and it would help me to deliver a better material. So I think it's interesting. I have already delivered these lectures and I had a blast giving them. So let's go. Let's just freaking go. So, okay guys, my goal today is to change the impression you may have about rock music and where that genre is in the present. We're starting with rock music. And we're gonna go to pop and we're gonna go to Latin as we progress, but we're starting with rock music. For Valeria that came a little bit later, Valeria, what's happening is that I'm trying to save my soul by not dying of overwork, and I'm gonna deliver a set of materials that I have prepared for the DPO that are about styles and genres, and I am going to put you guys to write music in specific styles and genres. Okay?
Okay.
So just so you know what's going on. And we're starting with rock music today. So, and next, I think it would be like theoretical lecture, production lecture, theoretical lecture, production lecture. So we're doing rock for 2 weeks, pop for 2 weeks, Latin for 2 weeks. That's already 6 weeks. And then abstract and hip hop and electronic for 2 weeks. And so we're going to be in this module for a while. If it becomes problematic, we will discuss it. Please, I want these lectures to remain interesting. The way I see this is like songwriting / production 3. So we're kind of bringing all of this together and this has to be cool. If it's not cool, just come to me. Okay? Alexandra just joined. Hello, Alexandra.
Hey.
Guys, should I explain this again? What do you think? Alexandra, I'm not trolling you at all. I'm just honestly asking something to the guys. Should I explain to Alexandra this or should I carry on, guys? You decide.
Let's explain something again.
Okay, Alexandra, what's going on is this. I have discussed this with the students. I'm in the final stages of the production of the soundtrack of the movie that I'm working on. I'm extremely fucked up of time and pressure, and I want to deliver good materials to you. So I have decided to do something that it's a little bit outside of our course of music production of a single. But I'm doing this for 2 reasons. A, because it helps me to release my load so I don't die in these weeks, and 2, so because I feel that you guys never had a good conversation about styles and genres across your course. So we're gonna see a module of styles and genres, and I'm gonna put you guys to write music in specific subgenres. Like I'm gonna administer randomly this thing, and then I'm gonna say, okay, Alexandra, you have to write a reggae song, a drum and bass song, and a rock song, whatever, black metal. Like I'll put you to write black metal. So I just want you to practice this, okay? If this sucks or it feels terrible or you guys are against this, you will tell me. Please be all super honest with me. I want this to be cool, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. So, okay, my main goal today is to change the impression you may have about rock music. So, but before, let's talk a little bit about styles and genres in general. Because you guys are not kids, I'm going to sort of jump a little bit, and you are not newbies, so you of course have some understanding of what a style and a genre is, but there is a slide that I think is going to be really useful. Let me see, this slide is exactly wait, academic, yeah, this one, correct. Yeah, I think that I can just start from here. Yeah, custom social norms, yeah. So okay, by the way, what do you think is a style and a genre? What do you think this term is the difference between a style and a genre? Can you answer that question?
For me, genre is like a whole thing, and the style can be a part of a genre.
Good point. Good point. Anybody else want to say something about that? Okay. The way I see it, like it's like I think there is a slide a little bit later that mentioned this, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, yeah, you see, Bob Marley plays reggae, the genre, but he does it in his own way, style. So that's how I see it. It's like the way, I don't know, Flying Lotus makes abstract hip hop. It's his style. So there is a difference between styles and genres, and it's important that you all develop your style within the genre that you love. And I think that this is a really important thing. Now, we may not like certain genres of music, but of course we need to know why a certain type of music works. A convention, because I mean, hey, come on, we want to make money, we want to be successful. We also want to be able to grab elements from different like styles of music or genres of music that we enjoy or don't enjoy, and bring them into our compositions. So it doesn't matter whether we like something or not. It's important to understand why it works. And this is kind of where I think is going to be the value of this set of lectures. A conventional category that identifies some pieces of music as belonging as a shared tradition as convention. That's a definition of genre. A conventional category that identifies some pieces of music as belonging to a shared tradition or conventions. And then it's like, okay, what is a tradition? It's a belief or behavior that passes across a group of people with a symbolic meaning and special significance or origins of the past. So, and then you can ask, you can keep going, because we use the word convention as well. So what is a convention? It's a set of agreed, stipulated, or accepted standards, norms, etc. And then you can ask as well, what is a custom? So these are shared standards that are acceptable behavioral by groups. So in general, when we're talking about a style or a genre, it's a really complicated conversation, because, for example, think about this. You can group genres. I just remember this. You can group genres by, for example, academic versus popular. You can group genres by religious versus secular. I mean, you can say like this is non-religious music and this is religious music, and then you create this genre which is like religious and not religious. You can categorize things as based on specific instruments, like guitar music, because you're gonna find a lot of problems if you start to categorize music. Like a great example is a band called TV on the Radio. Anybody of you know TV on the Radio?
I know about them.
You know about them? Huh?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, that is rock music, obviously, but I mean, when you listen to their records and their live performances, it's like they kind of like make rock music without guitars, and then they perform electronic music with guitars, and it would be really hard to just like decide one category that will tell you what is a style or a genre. So as more we progress and think about these things, it will be really hard to just pinpoint like and to point somewhere towards what does it mean a style or a genre in particular. So I'm going to go through this slide 1 second, because I think that there are some important information in general. Like the nature of music means that the classifications that we're trying to do are subjective or controversial, or maybe they overlap. Like there are so many ways to categorize music, like I was saying, academic and popular, religious and secular, based on instruments, based on timbral choices. I mean, I kind of like that definition. You can also define it by timing and metrics, or by fashion and behavioral aesthetics. That's my favorite one, kind of. I think that that's where we all sit, you know, fashion and behavioral aesthetic, because again, like if Metallica goes and makes like a pop song, like a Britney Spears like song, like fans of Metallica are going to recognize the song as a rock song. It's very strange. But it's really hard to really define what a style or what a genre is. A style, I think, is easier. Now, in the genealogy of music genre, there is like general patterns that are kind of like identified as the key cores of modern music, like classic, jazz, rock and roll, folk, and pop. That's not a bad definition. So, if we go, I don't know why I get these errors sometimes of these videos when I play them from here. I think that I can access. Today has been the day of all the errors and everything, so I'm already calm about it. Like everything has gone wrong today, so let's not stress. Let me just view here the video options. I think if I right click, I just want to get the link, because I can open it from from YouTube, but it's not even letting me do that for some reason. Just a moment, sorry for this, guys. Format options, if I open this, no, it will not appear. And if I open here format options, video playback, all I want is the click. All I want is the link. Okay, let's not freak out about anything. So styles of music. I think that this was going, if I see that, I think it's a pretty famous video, so it will not be so hard to find styles and genres of music. Let's see. Tick 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 tick. It's a really nice little summary of everything, but not today, right? Let me just search right alone genres, music genres alone. I don't see that video there. For some reason he doesn't want to play it. I think it's because I have the VPN on. Music genres. Ладно. I'm not gonna suffer here. Let's just move on. I mean, that was gonna be a video that was gonna have like a really nice sort of summary of all the big styles and genres that we have around, but whatever. I mean, I have to be calm about the fact that today things that are not working as I intend to. And I don't know the name of the video, and I don't know the link, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, because usually it appears here, but because of the VPN, it's not working. You know, I'm going to give it a shot. The internet is going to go bad for a second. I'm going to give it a shot to disconnect the VPN, because maybe this is going to happen with all the videos further down, so it's worth a shot. So the internet will go down for you guys and also on the stream. Just be patient with that in 1 second, and it will be like a indication here that the stream to YouTube is working. The stream to YouTube is working. Even though I did this, it didn't work. So again, it's not my day. So you see, like, nothing is here. So anyways, let me see if it happens with the next video that I want to see, and if it does, yeah, this one doesn't work. Okay, this one works. So all right, cool, let's carry on. This was going to be a list of genres, you know them well, and in this list of in that previous video that appeared there, you were going to see this list: jazz, hip hop, rock, folk, soul, dance, electronic, blues, classical, reggae, gospel, country, musical in general, like a musical, Arabic, disco, march, R&B, film score, Latin, children, funk, pop, and new age. Is there something missing there, in your opinion? Because I like that list, but I want to see if
I really want to ask you about, like, do you consider indie a genre? Like, because at first it wasn't.
Yeah.
So you don't?
No, I put it kind of like. That's a good question. Let's discuss it. Let's choose a band. Can we work with Vampire Weekend? Or it doesn't qualify?
Yeah, probably we can.
Like, I mean, the way I see the world, it falls into rock category or pop category. Like, and actually, there is something interesting about this list that I guess that is a type. Ah, no, there is pop there. I was like, holy shit, there's no pop there. I would put them in the either rock or pop. Where would you put? Would you create a category for indie? Because I'm starting to incline towards your side that maybe we should have indie here too.
Oh well, I feel like indie has developed some kind of a sound,
Yes, I
like
agree
in recent like 10 years. But I don't understand. I just know that a lot of distributors and stuff like this, they don't. I think Spotify doesn't acknowledge indie as a genre or something like this, because a lot of people in the industry don't say that it's like you cannot tick it as your genre.
Let's open this question outside of you and me, because you and I are inside these genres and we work on them. Let's see, I don't know, Lala or Olga or Liera, like what do you think? Like, is indie a separate genre, or would you put it inside rock or pop?
I would put it inside rock or pop or even electronic. I think it can be applied to any genre, to any more or less pop genre. For example, indie R&B, indie, indie. I'm not sure about indie Arabic, but
I get your point.
yeah, it can be applied to any like Western-oriented genres.
And what about? I want to hear one more opinion, like Lala or Liera. Can you tell me your opinion about this? I'm really curious to see if we can settle it. So far, we have one vote of not including it, one vote of including it, and I haven't decided. You need to convince me. So who's the next one? I'm asking Liera or Lala if you're there. No? All right. Let's leave it as it is, like this, because that's how this list above was. Maybe we will change our mind later. But for the future generations, I will write something here like, because that would be a good conversation. Indie? Like, what about indie? Still not determined, in my opinion. Okay. So there is. I'm putting you here a couple of lists. This is a website called Music Genres list.com that has a huge music genre list and it's really cool. But that's a shitty website compared to everynoise.com. Everybody here knows this site?
I think somebody showed us it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't have to show it. I don't know about Lala and Sasha. And by the way, Sasha, you didn't answer us our question about indie. I'm curious, really curious about your opinion. I just didn't see who was here in the lecture, and I want to hear your opinion.
Well, I am within the genre, I would say. So I don't know if it is fair or not.
No, I want to hear your opinion. You are in favor of adding it here to the list?
I guess so, on the one hand. On the other, it can really be that prefix for other genres, like indie rock, indie jazz, indie pop.
Indie Arabic, like Olga was.
I guess I'm like you, I'm not yet convinced what to do with it.
So yeah, indie is going to have to fight for its identity. So, okay, everynoise.com, I assume that you all know this. In case you don't, I just have to see this website one day. It's like every single genre that has been added to Spotify, and it's a great way to discover music. And by the way, I'm now curious if I write here the word indie, what it happens. Sorry, and if I search here indie, indie, let's see. Yeah, you see Pune indie folk argentino. We have Czech indie, Limerick indie, Belfast indie, Delaware indie, South Dakota indie. We have. Let's see if there is indie Arabic or Arabic indie. Arabic indie. Yeah, no. There is Arabic instrumental. Okay, whatever. Anyways, everynoise.com is a great website. So closing this, Bob Marley plays reggae, but he does it in his own style. We discussed this. That's really cool. And my thoughts on the matter. These are my own thoughts on the matter. Maybe genres represent more like personality types. I really want to hear your opinion about this. Maybe genres represent more like personality types, modes of being, and cultural backgrounds. Because the question is, why should we make these groups? How do we make them? Do we make them by style of instrument, by type of whatever? I think genres represent types of people, like more than something else. So I think that they show ways of approaching to the issues of life. So it's becoming more difficult to block things into particular genres the more we progress. And if this is a really funny thought, these are not necessarily truth or something. I just after everything I shared with you, I wanted to tell you my own thoughts about some things. And this is what I told you about Metallica. If an artist make usually rock music and then it comes and makes an electronic pop song, it seemed like somehow that song still belongs to the genre that the artist was originally. I can argue a lot of examples like that. I don't know, Tool makes sometimes a lot of joke songs, especially in their old discography. And for a Tool fan, they are still recognized as some sort of art rock song or something like that. It doesn't feel like it's a pop song. And I think that and I gave a good case when I gave this lecture the first time, I get a good case, which is the latest, I think it's Miley Cyrus. No, it's not Miley Cyrus. It's Demi Lovato album. The latest Demi Lovato album. Have you heard it, guys? Do you know what am I talking about?
I don't think so.
The latest Demi Lovato album, it's obviously produced by a punk engineer, by a pop rock engineer. Let me see. The album is called, I always forget the name. The album is called Demi Lovato new album. Wait. Holy fuck. Yeah, that's the album. Holy fuck. Yeah, review. Track by track. The new Demi Lovato album is official track by track. I guess it's this one.
On the first day for me, you have
Let me just jump to
the review. So
I want to hear music. Here, I guess. You see?
phone.
Like that thing, you heard that little kusочек. I just don't want to get a copyright strike. You heard that kusочек, and that could have been a Queens of the Stone Age song. Do you agree? Hello?
Yeah.
But because it's a Demi Lovato song, that's a pop song. Kind of. Like, if you disagree with this idea, tell me, but it's just an idea that I have. The more time it passes, the more genres cross over to one another. And it's a controversial matter that matters a lot and does not matter at the same time. My opinion is that I'm super globalist about this. It's like, for me, there are kind of like 4 genres and that's all. It's like kind of like rock, pop, electronic, jazz, classic, Latin, world music. That's kind of it. So I don't remember.
And hip hop, you forgot.
And hip hop, yeah. I kind of forgot a little one, right? But what I'm trying to say is that I am not into these sub-segmentations of things, you know, of going to the final, like indie pop, rock, electronic from Afghanistan, from the south region of Bangladesh. It's like, okay, like whatever. I don't remember, guys, if we have seen this song. I think we did, because this song really shocked me. Did we or not? Because if not, I move out. Have we discussed this song, Multiviral, by...
To be honest, I've seen it on your post-production lecture. I watched it, yeah. But I don't think we have discussed it here, so...
Ladies and ladies, because gentlemen already answered to me, can you help me to tell me if we have discussed this song? Because I really don't believe so, but I just want to be sure before I play it.
I also don't believe so.
Okay, the reason why this song is here is because, let's just try to discuss what genre this is. There you kind of have an idea of the song, and the song in the end has a guest appearance by Tom Morello, which is the guitarist of Rage Against the Machine. And by the way, the song includes a conversation with Julian Assange, not a conversation, but a spoken word by Julian Assange.
To see. From Cairo to Quito, a new world is forming. The power of people armed with the truth.
So, I mean, what genre is that? I mean, it's pop music, I guess. It won a Grammy, by the way, this song. It's kind of pop music, but I mean, that song is in French, in Arabic, in Spanish. It has reggaeton, it has rock, it has hip hop elements to it. So where would you guys put it?
between rap and rock, maybe something like rapcore. Everything else is like seems like a stylization. But yeah, but the thing that I see like in the middle, in the center of it, is like a person. He's not rapping actually, but like he's almost speaking.
Almost spoken word, yeah.
Yeah, but so it's somewhere, and it's very rock because
by the way,
it has a lot of.
Do you know the album Coldplay? Parachutes by Coldplay, the first one.
Yeah, and that's the same engineer.
It's
right?
the same engineer who mixed that album. Mixed this. So I mean, I say this now because of fucking hell, like how great engineer he is, right? Like, yeah. So, any other thoughts about the song or that came to your mind when you heard it, or not only you, Grisha, but the other guys? If not, I will move on. Okay, I move on. If you want to say something about it later, you can as well. So, all right, I have a segment here in this presentation about structures in general. This is material that we have covered in the past, and I'm going to actually remove it because it's not relevant to our conversation right now. So I wanted, before we start this journey into rock music or to any styles and genres, to have a little conversation about styles and genres, and that was what we just did. I think that the conclusion of this is that, I mean, we are kind of grouping personality types, and that this is a very hard task, that you can approach to this task from many angles, academic, popular, religious, secular, timbral choice, instruments, whatever. But in the end, we have sort of like a list that humans have pseudo-agreed that which are the styles and genres. Let me just use the word genres alone. And that list, it's kind of useful for us to orient ourselves, but it's sort of like, it matters and it doesn't matter at the same time. Long story short, I don't think it's such an important conversation, to be honest. I mean, to talk about how music is put together and the characteristics of each type of performer, and I think that's really important. What I don't think is important is like to be so strict about where this song falls into which genre. It's a kind of like a conversation that I don't care so much.
Okay, bye then.
Huh?
Okay, bye.
Bye. That's the end. No, look, I mean, I think that the big categories matter. Let me refine what I said, because it's a good point. The big categories matter. Like, that there is something like rock, that there is something like electronic. What I don't care so much is about the little categories. Like, no, this is not rock music. This is, like, you know, left-handed, fretless guitar, jazz core, punk, avant-garde pop. Like, I just don't like this. I think it's really better to be super simplistic. Like, for example, I will tell you what I think about the music that you make. Like, I think that Grisha makes indie, and I agree, and that's where it stays, even though we were discussing about that conversation. If not, it would be like pop rock, like, which is a combination that I'm ready to make, this pop rock. But I like more indie. I think that Olga makes, I mean, I have to be honest, I haven't heard your music for a long time, so I don't know where you are, and if I'm wrong, you correct me, but I think that Olga makes electronic music, like, and that's what I would call it, electronic music. And inside there is ambient, there is drum and bass, there is so much stuff, but I think that Sasha is making pop music, like pop rock music, like that's how I see it, like, or rock sometimes, so it's kind of like pop rock music. I think that Valeria is making pop, obviously, I mean, in my opinion, in general, what I know from you. And I wouldn't go further down to say like more prefixes and adjectives to your music, because I think that's enough. That's what I mean about the fact that I don't think that this conversation matters so much or not. Now, of course, I made all these lectures just to show you a lot of Tool, and that's all I did. All I wanted to do is to sit you down and to force you to listen to Tool. So that was my goal with creating this set of lectures. No, obviously not. But we do start with a Tool moment, because right now our desire is to, let me just go back here 1 second. Like, my desire in general, well, I can stay there because I think the gifts can be distracting. My desire is to expand your paliter as a music producer and as a songwriter. And we are going to look at these genres from the perspective of like, what can you extract from there that is useful to you? That's one of my main goals here. What can you extract from there that is useful to you? First point. Second point that I want to extract from here is sort of like a meditation about what makes rock music be rock music. Now that we're here, let's try to understand what makes rock music be rock music. And as you're gonna see, that's gonna be a conversation that's gonna open a conversation that is gonna be complicated, because like the case of TV on the radio, I was telling you, there are some rock artists that don't use the same instruments. And so we're going to try to sort of reach to a philosophical consensus, or at least I'm going to propose a philosophical consensus of what does it mean something like rock music. And in order to do that, I start with this Tool song, which we are not going to hear. We're just going to hear the intro. This is a concert, and we're going to hear how this concert started.
Think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Throughout human history, as our species has faced the frightening, terrorizing fact that we do not know who we are or where we're going in this ocean of chaos, it has been the authorities, the political, the religious, the educational authorities who attempted to comfort us by giving us order, rules, regulations, forming in our minds their view of reality. To think for yourself, you must question authority and learn how to put yourself in a state of vulnerable, open-mindedness, chaotic, confused vulnerability to inform yourself.
Okay, so that's how this song starts, and I mean, and then the song is amazing, of course. I mean, I really like it. It's a really cool song, but I don't want to hear it right now because we will hear a lot of music and we will discuss a lot of other stuff. But this thing starts by saying, think for yourself, question authority. Like, that's the beginning of this album. It's actually an album and it starts like that. So this video here that I put here, it's for your further education if you want to see it later. I don't think that we need to see it. It's the classical conversation of like, rock music started in the, in the Mississippi basin with the black communities there that were sort of like post-enslaved but still being oppressed in the United States. And it emerged as a lamentation music, and it has a whole bunch of... It's the classic documentary about what rock music is. I put it there for you. I do have a little bit of a timeline here and a conversation, and I'm actually gonna give you a cool concept that I think you didn't know, because I didn't know it before and I'm a rock guy. It's like, why is this called rock? Like, why the genre is called rock music, actually. So first we need to talk about the word rock. I mean, like the word rock individually. It's derived from the Old English rokane, which is related to an Old Nordic word, which is rekja, which means to pull, to tear, or to move. So you see, in English you can use the word rock like, you rock my world. Have you heard this, right?
Yeah.
This is not connected.
Yeah.
This is not connected to the like. I mean, this is connected to movement. You understand that, right? It's not connected to the actual piece of material called rock. Like if there is a baby sleeping in a bed and you move the bed, you're rocking the bed. Did you know this use of the word rock, right? Or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. I just don't know. Okay. Now in like in literature, there is from around 1805, there is already use of the word in this context. We're still obviously not talking about the style of music called rockabye. Like, I mean, it's like rockabye baby. It's kind of like saying like, I'm gonna rock you, baby, like sort of like make you move. And the word roll of like the rock and roll, the word roll is derived from the Latin root, which means like a small wheel, and it's like there was a phrase that came like together by united this word rock and roll, which means that the boat, because this was initially a seaman, I'm talking about rocking and rolling. Basically, sorry, I didn't say this so clearly. There is a word rock and the word roll separately, and roll connects to small wheel, and then somebody put together these two words like rocking and rolling, and it's a metaphor used by people from the sea to describe the motion of the ship. It's like the ship is rocking and rolling, it's moving back and forth. So by the 20s, rocking and rolling became a double like kind of meaning sentence, which means to have sex. And so, I mean, it was like, let's go and rock and roll, baby. Like, I mean, this was before the genre rock music appeared. That expression meant, let's have sex, you know. And it originated in the sea, in the boats, by people describing the motion of the boat, and by people describing movement in general. So, rock and roll appears kind of like in the late 40s and 50s. And it evolved eventually into different subgenres and styles in the 60s. And it kind of all happened in the United States and the UK. This is really obvious. And this is kind of like a summary of that little documentary I put you up there. It drew directly from blues and rhythm and African American music. And it also drew like a strong amount of influences from other genres like folk and jazz and classical and other musical styles. For instrumentation, rock is centered around the electric guitar. And it's usually like, well, this is kind of obvious, but we cannot say that for sure because other bands make rock music without guitars. And usually, like, this is more like the normie version of what rock is, and I find it useful to see it. And usually it's kind of in a 4/4 time signature with verse, chorus, verse form. But of course, the genre has become very diverse as time has passed. Around the mid 60s, initially, like the single was kind of like the main form of release, and then it started to become the album for a while. And with the Beatles, like, this became really established, like you know, a rock artist doesn't make a single, it makes an album. Obviously this thing has changed a lot. And around the 60s, you know, there was like, this is like a period of like classic rock that appeared. Many subgenres emerged, like blues rock, folk rock, country rock, southern rock, raga rock, jazz rock. And all of them, like, I mean, connected with the psychedelic influences, etc. The whole point is that 60s was a moment of classic rock, and 70s was a more of progressive rock, and 80s was more like a moment of punk rock in general. And then from the 90s, something happened that changed rock a lot, which was Nirvana. And not only Nirvana, but like, I mean, the subgenre, the culture that came out, that emerged from Nirvana. And from the 90s onwards, like, this alternative rock came to dominate the rock world, and it baked into the mainstream, into the form of grunge, Britpop and indie rock. Like, I mean, in Britpop, it's like Oasis and things like that. And then further fusion of subgenres have emerged ever since, including pop punk, electronic rap, blah blah blah. Like, I mean, obviously we know all of this story because rock is very close to us. And by the 2010s, kind of like mainstream rock sort of disappeared a little bit in the cultural relevancy, and hip hop became the most important force in general in the United States. So now we're going to be more leaving the history behind a little bit and focusing more a little bit into the characteristics. And I want to share with you a couple of thoughts that I hope they are important. They're important to me. I hope they're important to you as well. To kind of understand the vibe and why this genre exists and why it sounds like it sounds and all of that. So rock has embodied and served as a vehicle for cultural and social movements forever. Like, I mean, it's been kind of like a protest music since its inception. And it represented the hippie countercultures in the United States in the 70s. And in the 70s, kind of like also this culture kind of went more into like the individual protest with your body expression and things like goth, punk, and emo. And this is important to understand when rock is being made, or when you're thinking about rock music, or when you're conceiving rock music. You have to understand that rock inherits a folk tradition, and the folk is a very protest music. And rock has been associated with political activism as well as changes in social attitudes from the beginning. So this is a really important thing, a part of rock music. So now we arrive to my thoughts about the whole thing. So what do I think about rock music personally, which is my genre? So I think that I have some capacities to discuss this, I don't know, from my point of view. Rock music represents the need of people to say straight and direct truths. I personally think that that's one of the main point. Well, maybe you don't want to use the word truths there. You could say it. Let me just change that to be more humble there, because it's not not a truth what a person who is making rock is trying to communicate, but straight and direct ideas. Let's put it like that. Better put it like that. the structure of 4/4 and instrumentation, drums, bass, guitars are not conditions for rock music to be rock music, obviously. I mean, I just wanted to clarify that from the concepts that I was bringing from before. And rock represents a community of people who are not satisfied with the status quo in some form or another. You know, I think that, and I would like to discuss this with you. Like, do you share this idea or not?
Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not sure that it's best represented in rock music. Maybe like in 90s it was much better represented in like rap culture or hip hop, because that it was like the protest music then.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's true for rock. It just might not be like represented in rock the best way, but it is true.
Yeah. What do you want? Do you want to say something, Olga? Is it you who was talking there?
No, it was me. I agree with Grisha.
Okay, got it. So, for me, rock is more like an attitude rather than a music style. I think that it's something that I like to see it like that. You know, I guess that most genres are more like an attitude rather than a music style. But I think that, let me just delete this. Like, for me, rock is more an attitude rather than anything else. It's more like an attitude. You know, it's an attitude towards something, towards music. Rock does not represent only a challenge to governments or to institutions. It's more rather music for those who are attempting to think for themselves. Like, that's why I started with that video that I showed you up there. Like, but that's of course a trap. It can be a trap too. And I wrote it in the presentation, because sometimes you think you're thinking for yourself when you're just repeating things that other people are doing. So, I mean, people like me who have observed a certain cloud or atmosphere inside the rock world. Remember, I was touring with Pobeda, with Plague Riot in Moscow. I have played in squads in Germany. I have played in squads in London. Like, I have been in all the rock bars of London, like, and played in all of them. And I know all these scenes and all these people. And I mean, I don't know them nowadays, but there was a moment in my life when I was interacting with them a lot. And I came to this space seeking for something real, something truthful, and I found a lot of bullshit as well. That's kind of what I mean by, however, this can be a trap. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that if you make rock music, you are a truthful person, you're amazing. I'm just saying, like, when you start talking with people in general, that in a rock concert or something, you start feeling this sort of like distrust towards institutions, towards governments. There is this general attitude, you know, in general, of not following along. But the whole thing can become a group of sheep that are following each other. And I've seen this especially with the punk world. I never liked the classic school of rock. I'm talking about AC/DC and things like that. But I guess we need to discuss it. And I'm just jokingly there with a little smiley, just saying like, hey, whatever, I don't like this stuff, but obviously it's important for some people, so I cannot ignore it. And I think that the only common element that I will be able to find in the cases that we will discuss further is how do you dance it and what general mood you feel when you hear it. You know, this is kind of like what I'm trying to say there is like, maybe that's even the best way to group like a genre. It's like, how do you dance this? Like, and in rock music it happens a lot that most of the music that you hear there, it all leads you to headbang, to move like to the sides, maybe to pog a little bit and stuff like that. But in general, it's really hard to pinpoint what a genre or a style is. And when we're looking at rock music, maybe a lot of the how do you feel and how do you dance it could be a way to help us identify if this is rock or not. I really think when I gave this lecture for the first time, we had a deep conversation with the students that were in the class in that moment about the fact that maybe how do you dance something is really the only way you can sort of define a style and a genre, something like that. I would be interested to hear if you agree with that.
I think it's a good common thing, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, then I'll move on. I once got this conversation with my dad, like about, like, I mean, he asked me a question which was like, hey, if you are full of love Why are you loving all this music that contains so much hate? You know, my father asked me this question once because of like the heavy music that I was listening to. And I told him something like, don't mistake hate with channeling your inner aggression. So I think that rock music is for people who like to discuss hard truths. That doesn't mean that when I put in here truths, again, I'm going to change it just in case, because I'm not saying that they're speaking the truth. I'm saying that they're seeking for them. But let me put it here, ideas. I think that rock music is for people who like to discuss hard, or I would say more like rough ideas. I don't like that idea. Hard truths in English means things that are 100% like that or something like that. Like to discuss, I don't know, concrete ideas. I'm going to change it like that, if it makes sense. And I have this idea, this feeling, and I'm really serious about this. And this is maybe the most important thought that I can share with you so far from the beginning of this presentation till now. It's like, remember that we were hunter-gatherers in the past, and our ancestors that go back hundreds of thousands of years were hunting, were murdering, were killing, were doing brutal things, and we carry this inner energy inside of us, whether we like it or not. So I think that more is rock music is for people who seek to channel their inner aggression that we all carry inside and do not feel ashamed of containing this aggression inside. And I don't think that this aggression is a negative thing. It's just like, it's whatever made you be capable of grabbing a freaking deer and wreck it to pieces because you needed to eat, you know. And I don't think that this force has left us as individuals. And I think that we carry this force inside. And when we're making rock music, we're sort of in that space. Rock is for those who carry a storm inside due to maybe family, governmental, or societal or personal issues. And funny enough, this is another of my thought. Rock has very close connection with classical music when you see the structures and how it's built. Like, I think that we will kind of like identify that there is a lot of classical music elements there. So I want to stop here and I want to hear your thoughts on this particular final slide. Because I mean, this is my opinion and I'm putting it as my opinion. I'm not telling you that this is the truth. Do you like this idea? Has it made you think about something or whatever? It's not nothing in particular. What do you think? My argument is we carry a entity inside of us that is capable of grabbing a beautiful, nice little deer and wreck it into pieces to eat it because we are starving. And that aggression, it's still inside of us. And we make some music to channel that too. And I think that that's the core thing behind rock music. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's about embarrassing the darkest sides of ourselves and darkest sides of the world, and maybe challenging them somehow, and just accepting it.
Yes, I like this idea a lot. Grisha, do you like this idea or are you against it?
I do not argue, but I think for me rock was always much more like a fun thing than a hateful thing or like aggressive thing. I always treat rock like something fun.
Okay, what about like, I don't know, something like Pantera or Sepultura or
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I do not like argue with that. That's the point. I think that you're telling like the truth, but I just, in my personal opinion, even like heavy metal or something like this is just fun. That's why I like this music, not because it's aggressive, but just because it's fun.
And you know, something that I always find interesting was like every time I heard things like Iron Maiden and stuff like that, and Megadeth and Metallica, I was always feeling like as if I was watching a Cirque du Soleil performance. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. There and a lot of like this scream vocalists, they actually sing like lullabies if you catch the melody itself.
Yes. We're gonna see it now with a couple of examples. So yeah. All right, cool. I'm happy that we sort of feel it similarly, because this was 100% my idea and I was curious to see how it lands on you. And once we establish this idea, we maybe can understand what can be the use of rock in your own compositions in the future. You know, like we come to terms with the fact that we have an internal aggression inside of us, and we want to use this to say a point, and maybe expressing it through a rock example, you know, it could be cool. Actually, I just remember we're going to see a little bit later some musical examples of this. But I just realized that one of those examples, like, I mean, there is a great example that came to my mind right now that it's not there. And I'm gonna actually put it here. Like, I mean, let me just put here a special case. This is gonna be really fun. There is an album from a band called Café Tacuba. I have shared it not so long ago in our music channel. And this is the reason why I'm putting this here, because I want to try to make this course, this part of the course, useful for you, so you can feel that you can use resources like rock music to say a particular type of thing that you want to say as a composer or as a songwriter. A special case, let me put this like rock in the middle of pink pop, pink/folk pop, and I want you to check this out, because I imagine something like Valeria, for example, is building, or Lala is building her sort of like pop-oriented album, or Lala right now is making more electronic music, but electronic music-oriented album, and boom, you.
Sorry, what's pink again? What
I'm joking there a little bit. Like when I'm saying pink, I'm calling it like in Spanish we say rosa, which means like kind of like розовый pop, понимаешь, типа он очень счастлив и очень лайтовый, не так типа серьезно. Folk. Look at this case. This is an album which is a Mexican band, and it's from 1994, by the way, and it's like an institution in Latin America. And these guys, they create this album which is mostly like Mexican folklore and very happy pop music, and in the middle of it they drop like a metal, like a black metal bomb, literally. You will see it. So as you can hear, like I want to jump a little bit. This is just like Mexican folk music. And you jump here. Kind of like mariachi kind of thing. Look at this song, it's like super pop 90s. Okay, we're getting there. Well, there you go. And in the middle of the album, you get to this moment. Like, let's just go there. Etc. I mean, they chose to use this texture in the middle of a pop album to say a point that required, I mean, if you know the lyrics and stuff, to point that required some power of delivery. They were trying to discuss a concrete idea. They are channeling their inner aggression through it. And so, I mean, I just think that it's an interesting case of how could you use rock music in the middle of your compositions to surprise your audience, to make something really powerful and to drive a point home. In terms of the structures of rock music in general, of course, like, I mean, usually rock music falls into the intro, verse, chorus, solo, chorus, outro kind of structure. Like, I mean, when you see like a classic piece of rock music. And I mean, basically, the classic rock has this very pop structure of intro, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus. Nothing really particular. Of course, it can go really crazy and it can become very, very intense. in terms of the what's the name, the type of structures that can be. We have in the past, I remember in Foundation, we have discussed these super cool memes. I don't know if you remember that. Like for example the black metal one, like I mean, just it's a little bit of a meme here that I put for you. Like I mean, the structures of rock music can be very weird or they can be very pop. Like, so there's nothing so much to discourse in terms of the rock structures, because I think that 90% of the songs that make it to the charts, they follow verse, chorus, verse, bridge, solo, coda structure. And then the structures inside rock music can be really crazy and really open-minded depending on what you are, but very few people listen to this. So what follows in this conversation is, what follows in this, what's the name? In these slides are a lot of cases of music that I wanted to share with you, that I don't think I have ever shared with you, because I chose this very carefully. There are some things that I have shared with you, but there is just one thing that I'm not confident about, which is the quality of the stream. If it's worth to sit down and listen to these things right now and to discuss them, or is it better that you guys come onto your own time and go and check them out on the site, like on the slide, sorry, or take this more like as a playlist that I curated for you, or should we go and discuss this in this online format? What do you guys think about that?
I think if it's not like vital for your lecture, we can do it at home.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand you are watching this on what's the name, on Google Meet, and you're gonna hear some crappy stream of some song, like, and it just doesn't make sense to discuss it like this. If we were together, it would be very different. But I have made for you here a pretty awesome, I think, like I don't know, like compilation of some really, really good rock music that I think is worth paying attention to. I think that there is a couple of things that I want to show, yeah, that will illustrate my case a little bit better. And I think I'm going to go through a couple of examples, because look, I mean, I'm not going to go exactly through a whole example, but I want to build a couple of arguments, okay? So you have here Audioslave and Rage Against the Machine. Obviously, I put here AC/DC, like the very obvious thing. I don't like AC/DC at all, but it's obviously something huge. And if you're going to discuss rock music, you have to start by AC/DC, I guess. Or not start, but to see it. I have put Audioslave and Rage Against the Machine. And of course, I have spent a bit of time discussing Maynard James Keenan, which is Tool, A Perfect Circle, and Pucifer. And I would really love you to hear these things, because there are a lot of interesting things. We have discussed Tool extensively, so that's obvious. And in the Omar Rodriguez Lopez, which I know that you and I have discussed a lot, but I remember very well what I have showed you from him. And in here, I do want to build a little bit of an argument. Remember that upstairs I said something when we started talking about styles and genres in general. I said something kind of like, if a rock artist makes a pop song, this song is a rock song. Remember that? Like if Metallica makes a pop song, that Metallica pop song is a rock song automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at this case, for example. Omar Rodriguez Lopez makes this music. You are all familiar with his work already because of me, right? I don't have to show you classic Mars Volta stuff. Or? This is important to me. Like, just answer.
To be honest, I don't remember.
Okay, this is kind of like somebody asking you, can you talk to me about your favorite band? And you're like, sure. All right. So, and I promise you that I'm not gonna watch so much, because I think it's gonna be annoying for you to watch online. But the Mars Volta is, I mean, it's like a very, very special band. Let me think about, let's start with this. Let me just go through Bedlam, or wait. Yeah, this is a good example. Do you guys hear kind of well, or is pizdiat?
It's kind of okay.
Okay.
You got the lock to burn, a shovel picks mother cries. Is there a spirit that spits upon the edge of the sign?
I mean, the reason why I jumped through the song like this, so you feel this is quite a progressive song that meets like Latino stuff, and it's very like broken structure. It doesn't has a clear chorus verse thing going on to it. And Omar Rodriguez Lopez is the man behind all this music. You know, check out this example, for example, here. Okay, so you get it. It's pretty like out there progressive rock music. Now, what you're gonna hear now is exactly the same person, you know. Let me go through this. Okay, so now I'm gonna build the argument that I told you before about if a rock musician makes a pop song, it's still a rock song. For me, that is a rock song, what you just heard there, in my opinion. That's a rock song. You can call it pop rock, you can even call it indie. You really can't call it indie. But now look at this interpretation of this. For me, that's a rock song. I just wanted to build that argument. It's like, even though it's really not like stylistically and generalistically a rock song, for me, that's a rock song because Omar Rodriguez Lopez made it. Maybe we disagree, maybe we don't, but now, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if I have discussed with you the latest Mars Volta record. Can you help me to
I don't think so.
Okay, that's
we did, I think.
in class?
I don't remember, but I definitely heard about them from you.
No, not the Mars Volta, but I'm talking about the album that came out in September last year.
No.
Because this is really important, and I mean, what I wish I could transmit with you with this sort of like block where we are inside this course of music production of a single is, well, I mean, you guys don't have like clear barriers. You're really open-minded about things. So I don't kind of need to convince you to do this. But dude, like, don't you find it cool that this person's repertoire of music is so free and so open? What do you think about that?
That's really great.
I mean, it's something that you would like for yourself too?
Yeah, it's kind of actually what I'm trying to do last couple of months.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Because I really want to push you and to motivate you. Because I mean, you see, in a way, this bachelor's, it's like, you know, when you say like the school of a certain person, like, I don't know, like the Dostoevskian school, or the Tolstoyan school, or the I don't know, Stravinskyan school. This bachelor's is like the DTH school. You know, that's what I want to, the values that I want to push into the music world, you know, which is like, let's make music without boundaries. Let's push the boundaries of music further. Let's not get stuck inside a style or a genre. Now, I want to tell you something important that I think that's another meta argument that I'm building with this segment of the course that we're going to go in now. It really is important for you to understand what you are best at. Because, like we will discuss next week in a production case I did, when you end up working with somebody that you're not good at that genre, you're going to have a lot of problems. So it's important to find yourself in like, what are your skills, and then use that, you know. But once you're there, it's really cool to just have a open-minded and change your styles and do different things, and I think that's a really cool thing. Now, you heard all of this already, and you have an idea. I'm going to play one more thing of the Mars Volta because I want you to feel this contrast, okay? And by the way, here I want to hear a couple of things. So let's start by this. This is going to be interesting. Remember when we made that exercise about BPMs? Remember? BPM explorations?
Yeah.
Okay, like how much changing a BPM changes a song. My goal with the next 3 minutes is to show you two things. Part one, how much a BPM can change the feeling of a song. We know this already, but I have a good case here. And part two of what I want to show you is like what the fuck happened to the Mars Volta and how amazing it is what they did. And I think that the best way to show that is to show you the contrast between this couple of old songs and the song that they released last September. First part of what we're going to discuss is how much a BPM affects a song and the arrangement, the aranjerovka. Check this out. Get through the prepiev. Let's get through the prepiev and then I move on. Okay, now check this out. You get the point. Pretty out there, brutal. Not brutal. It's not brutal at all, but it's kind of like jamming music, like many minutes of solos and percussions and what's the name? Psychedelia, reversed things, reverbs and stuff. Please, guys, I ask you this not as your teacher, but as a friend. Please listen to the latest Mars Volta record one day. Just do it for me once. Just do it once. You know. Check out where this all came to be. And actually I decided that I want to show you a different song here because it's one of my favorite one of this album and I really want to show you this song. My Telegram, I don't have access to my stupid Telegram. Wait a second. The song is called wait a second. Mars Volta. It's from the new album. The song is called, I just forgot 1 second the name of that song temporarily, and I want to see the playlist. Mars Volta playlist. No, where are you? Mars Volta new album. Let me put like this. Mars Volta new album 2022. I just forgot the name of that song. Where are you? Let me just see the playlist. Here it is, I think. Yeah. The name of the song is... Sorry guys. The name of the song is... No Case Gain. Yeah. Mars Volta. No Case Gain. Okay, great. So you see, this is a 2-minute 41-second song. And this is where this band evolved towards. So I mean, it's quite an evolution, I would dare to say. If you hear this completely, if you hear this fully, I'm gonna show you a couple of other things. Same band that you heard a minute ago, but this was after a 10-year break. Song, I remember we discussed it with Palina, and I remember this. Palina said something about the lyrics of the song that really, I will never forget it. With Palina Famina, we had a conversation about this song actually. So I'm not gonna play it right now.
I heard it moving through tiny blades of grass. Nursed in the bosom where they sucked all the drain.
So I mean, point being, it's like, what a great transformation, how cool that they evolved like this. I'm really happy for this. I hope that it's an inspiration to you to always think with the open horizon. I'm not gonna continue showing you music because, like I promised, I understand that this is hard and annoying to listen in this format. So I mean, I wish that you would perhaps in the future come to this little playlist and check out some of these examples, because I really carefully chose them to make sure that it's not something that I repeated for you. Well, I mean, that's kind of like in this first contact about styles and genres, that's kind of where we stop, because I mean, usually this lecture is longer because we hear all those stuff and we discuss them really carefully, but in this format I don't find it cool. This lecture of styles and genres for you most likely is, I mean, basically, when we get to the Latin thing, I'm really expecting to blow your minds. I was not expecting to blow your minds today, because it's kind of like things that you already know, nothing new. I think that the big value in this conversation that we had, in my opinion, is for you to kind of give you permission to mix your genres with rock music too. I also think that the other thing that we obtain with this conversation is some sort of like idea of like the fact that rock channels are internal aggression, and I think that this is a useful thought that I don't know if you ever had, and I hope that it can lead you towards feeling that you can use rock music too if you don't use it, you know, like, I mean, a bit more heavy stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Next week we are going to not have a theoretical conversation at all, but we're gonna like literally write rock music, produce rock music like as an exercise online, and I will announce next week how the actual assessment of this like eclectic EP that I want to do is gonna be. And again, like, what I'm really looking forward to is to discuss with you Latin and pop, because I really have some really cool arguments there that I don't think that are common, and I wish they can help you. So any comments, ideas, thoughts, feelings? This was terrible. This was okay. How do you feel?
I think it was pretty interesting, and I also have a question about the EP.
Yes.
So we don't have to make this studio lo-fi.
Of course you will. Of course you will. It's just like you're gonna have to do it in the context of a genre. Yes. Because I really want to force you to work in the studio, and I will give an exception to Grisha because he's kind of like isolated there, has no recording studio, that he can do it in the computer, or he can go to a studio, do it like that, how he wants. But yeah, I'm gonna force you to do something with styles and genres in the studio. That's kind of what I'm looking forward. Yes. Because I haven't forgotten about this. Like, I wanted this course to be a studio course, and I wanted the second semester to be about that. Now I'm using this opportunity to, like I told you, have a little bit of a breather, and also to discuss styles and genres with you, and to force you to write music in a way that it's not comfortable for you. So, I mean, I kind of stopped there because, like, I sort of, like, covered the material I wanted to cover today. If you want to discuss something with me else, just let me know. We're cool?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because I'm interested in your opinion on the genres very much.
Thanks.
Because I think it might be a bit alternative to the like common opinions.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, and in the pop lecture, I mean, I think the pop lecture is the one that, and the Latin one, the pop and the Latin one are really good arguments that were built there, and I started with the rock one because I wanted to get out of the way I want to call it the shittiest one, but I mean the one that I think is less interesting. Because I didn't want it to just repeat you the story of rock that you already know. I just wanted to build this argument that I built here about what's the internal, motivation of writing rock music. But anyways, I remind you that we have ahead, it's something like 16 lectures. So, I mean, imagine we're going to be discussing styles and genres kind of for 6 lectures, and then we will go back to our usual programming of trying to develop further tools for songwriting and production, okay? So, thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm going to go back to continue writing music for the movie, and I'll try to have a rest and recover, and I really hope I can start building new material for you guys very soon.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you guys. If you need anything, I'm not around because I don't have Telegram, but I'll do my best to recover it. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you guys. Пока-пока.
Thank you. Bye bye.